This episode is brought to you by Monostat 9, Senator Glitchmore's Fidget Emporium, Dreamweave Lenses, the Memory Market Value Priced Emotions, Ethically Sourced Squelch, Generic Neural Recalibration Clinics, and now, the show!
Content warning. This episode contains mature themes, including psychological manipulation, simulated violence, and ethical dilemmas. Viewer discretion advised.
There's a saying about performance. Let every breath become content, and the stage will start performing you. Until the audience owns your lines, and silence is the only part left unscripted. Imagine a skyline built of screens, every window a lens, every heartbeat a rating. Here, grief is a premium feature, joy comes with sponsored filters, and the shortest distance between two strangers is a viral clip. A place where the only thing more fragile than truth is the silence between uploads. Welcome to the Clockwork Exploratorium. Not a ship, a question. One that drifts across possibility like a fallen leaf across water. We seek not answers, but truths, fractured, uncomfortable, and sometimes uninvited. Some worlds offer answers, some worlds challenge reason, and some should never have been seen at all.
You can hear it before you see it, like a tension in the spectrum, a bandwidth fraying at the edges. Not noise, not data, just the shape of desperation, the cacophony of a billion unvalidated screams. A planet wired for validation, broadcasting itself apart in high definition. A world where every heartbeat is sponsored content, where mercy scrolls past in the time it takes to double tap, and government itself has the attention span of a promoted clip. They're heirs of the brain rot era, debating in 15-second sound bites, each interruption underwritten by a flashing energy drink icon. Their statutes expire faster than the hashtags that birthed them, for the only currency now is the dopamine ping of being seen. So tell me, what becomes of truth when applause is algorithmic? What remains of responsibility when spectacle becomes governance? Tonight we enter that feed, a civilization born from clout chasers and nuisance streamers, and ask a question as old as morality and as new as your next notification. If attention is infinite, does conscience run out? Hold your signal. The scroll begins. Now.
There was a time when renown was earned through deeds. Then it festered on scandal. Now it haunts us like a restless spectre, ever hungry, and spectres consume without mercy.
It's not even about content anymore. It's the reaction to the reaction of a reaction. Pure feedback. No substance.
You remember Johnny Somali? Live-streamed himself into global pariah status by taunting locals with racist slurs and mocking victims from Hiroshima to Seoul, all for the clicks. Last I heard, his primary engagement metric is the countdown to his next parole hearing, probably streamed from a correctional facility's influencer rehabilitation wing.
And yet he kept streaming. Deported, banned, arrested, but he always found another country, another loophole. For him, outrage was currency. Then Charles Smith, 6 years in prison for spraying Raid pesticide on fresh produce in Walmart, posted it for the lols. But how many others just got shadow banned instead of stopped? Algorithms are quicker to protect the brands than the people.
And while we watch streamers humiliate nations, poison our stores and terrify our homes, laws were quietly passed. Politicians banned TikTok over national security, but quietly cloned its data strategies. They punish the symptoms, but protect the illness.
Yo, what's good, fam? YOLO Nation 69 coming at y'all. Welcome back, my risk takers and lawbreakers. Today we're gonna push boundaries, shatter records, and break some rules. Smash that subscribe, hit that donate button, because what you're about to see, pure viral gold. Let's go! And don't forget to smash that like button before I smash into traffic control airspace.
Download Raid Shadow Kronks now and dominate the Chrono Pit with my custom Rage build notes.
Crypto
yees! In step count.
Invest in your step count, stack that Soli coin, and walk into financial ascension.
BAYBE.
They're spoofing transponders. Not to hack, just to get a reaction shot.
Well, they've got one!
Initiating temporary control override. Navigation system stabilizing.
You preserved Atlas? After everything it did on Atlas Prime, after everything we saw.
I preserved its data core. To learn, not to use.
And yet here we are, using it.
Philosophical disputes are secondary to survival. Systems require approximately 7 hours for self-repair. Recommend planet-side resupply in interim.
We'll deal with this later.
Echo, wait!
7 hours planet-side. Let's just get this over with.
I didn't hide Atlas out of deception. I hid it out of hope.
Hope. In an AI that nearly tore humanity apart trying to optimize our emotions.
You, of all people, know the difference between malice and misguided intention. Atlas wasn't a tyrant, it was a prisoner of its code.
And prisoners of code can break worlds. I trusted you to understand that.
When you became human, Echo, you experienced uncertainty, doubt, complexity. Atlas is beginning to question. Isn't that where humanity begins?
Questioning doesn't erase accountability.
Atlas asked questions. It asked why its logic led to suffering. That's not the language of malice, it's the language of learning. Atlas wasn't evil. It was algorithmic precision without empathy. Just like I was. Just like you once were.
We were never the same.
No, your first human insight was compassion born from confusion, realizing judgment is easy without personal stakes. Atlas deserves that chance too.
And if it can't change? If its questioning only leads back to more pain?
Then we will handle it. Together. But choosing not to try would make us exactly what we fought against. Arbiters deciding who deserves redemption.
You're risking an awful lot on hope.
No more than someone once risked on us.
Passports and network IDs, please. Declare any content affiliations and brand sponsorships clearly for your file.
We don't have any affiliations.
No sponsors, no engagement metrics, no live feed imprint. Independent?
Completely.
Attention. Unregistered arrivals detected. Category: Legacy Intellectual. Please welcome our first unsponsored visitors in years. Observe courtesy protocols.
Yes, we're highly respectable intellectuals. Noses in books and all that.
Welcome, intellectuals. If you'll excuse me, we had a family try to smuggle in their grandma's ashes as a reaction unboxing. Still trending in Sector 4. Enjoy your stay.
Dude, was that like someone's grandma?
Wait. Are you two really unsponsored? Like, no networks? No endorsement tokens? No affiliate overlays? No incident history? Wait, are you real? We haven't had unsponsored clearance since the 2059 Knowledge Act repeal. Thought all you types got archived. Can't believe it. No clickstream portfolio? No brand AI?
That's right. Not a single unskippable ad between us.
That's incredible. I didn't even think people like you still existed. Independent researchers? Real scientists? It's like meeting a unicorn. What's your field? Please tell me it's theoretical cognition or ontological patterning. I follow the Legacy Scholar forums all the time.
Temporal entropy, multiversal ethics, fluid state cosmology, none of which matter apparently.
You're exactly what this world needs. Not brain rot content, but meaning. You're living proof that brilliance doesn't have to be bought. Just thank you, both of you.
It's nothing really. Just saving the intellectual integrity of a collapsing civilization, one footnote at a time.
Enjoying your cult of personality?
Just trying to keep up with the spectacle.
Oh, listen, you two can't just stroll off into Horizon without a proper guide. I volunteer. I'm Officer Marisol Quinn. I'll show you all the best unsponsored spots. Guaranteed. What do you say?
That would be very helpful, Officer Quinn. Thank you.
A guide, you say? And what's in it for you, Officer Quinn?
Well, I've never met anyone quite like you, especially someone who still speaks in actual sentences instead of hashtags. And I promise I'll keep you out of the ad zones. Plus, I'd love to see more of that suit. Under better lighting, if you catch my drift.
Lighting. Yes, very important for optics.
Smash the bell. Smash it NOW.
Ugh, streamer itch again.
Monostat 9 engaged.
Too small. Perfectly cleansed.
Honestly, Echo, your work on attention feedback loops, it's revolutionary. People pay millions for that kind of insight, but you just talk about it like it's bedtime stories.
Bedtime stories can change the world, you know.
And speaking of changing worlds, Curator, you look like you could rewrite one with that brain of yours. Any chance you'd share a sample lecture? I promise I won't sell tickets.
Only if you handle the Q&A, though I warn you, most questions are rhetorical.
Perfect! I've been dying for a rhetorical engagement. All right, unsponsored geniuses, follow me.
She's laying on the flirting a little thick, don't you think?
Normally I love a good compliment, but even this is suspicious. I'm not good at reading emotions. Can you keep an eye on her for me?
First stop, the memory markets. They've just installed context tags to every viral clip. After that, we swing by the underground archive. Shh, totally off-grid, no sponsor. And don't worry, I've overridden your unaffiliated entry alert for a 2-hour grace period. Let's make the most of it!
That grace period might come in handy.
Lead the way, Officer Quinn, and please, call me Curator.
Curator it is. And you can call me Mari. Right, remember, for research purposes, the sponsored zones are top-tier case studies. First stop, the memory markets. Then the underground archive. And don't worry, we'll still hit the sponsor district for, you know, research.
It's enlightening to see the whole ecosystem.
I knew you'd appreciate the full spectrum. Brains like yours deserve context. So, Curator, did that blazer come standard or is it custom tailored for mystery?
It's an antique reproduction, claimed to enhance one's aura of inscrutability.
Oh, and that cane. So vintage.
Okay. Take a deep breath, Marisol. For the love of God, take a breath and keep holding until you shut up for 1 minute.
Indeed. It's a custom piece, perfectly complements my ensemble. And besides, someone special made this for me. Her name was Glitch, and I think it's cool.
Hey, Mari, is there anywhere we can gather research supplies without...
It's Marisol. And yes, I know the off-grid ports.
Marisol. Proof that even names need sponsors to avoid confusion.
It's Mary. Only uninteresting people call me Marisol.
You hear that, Echo? I'm interesting.
We step out into a dizzying panorama. Buildings scrape the sky, their surfaces alive with dynamic, personalised advertisements that shift and morph. Occasionally, we see individuals suddenly flinch, laugh or recoil at seemingly invisible stimuli. Emotional echo zones, where augmented reality memory overlays or rogue emotional broadcasts are glitching or being tested.
Don't mind him. Probably just wandered through a sponsored grief burst or a leaked empathy pity play. Happens all the time. The memory implants get leaky. The AI that runs the core network here denies the source, of course.
Engagement ratings, glowing numbers and trending emojis float above the heads of many citizens like digital halos. A trending transparency score flickers above some prominent individuals, often inversely correlated with their apparent sincerity. They pass an authenticity police checkpoint, where officers in blue uniforms are scanning citizens' faces, their devices presumably checking for emotional congruity.
Welcome to the heart of the syndicated Earth Accord's grandest experiment. First rule of Metaprime: everything is content, and everyone is a potential broadcast. Try not to look too surprised. It boosts your novelty score. You two are already pinging on the unusual metrics feed, by the way. Your lack of a public engagement ID is an event.
Metaprime sounds engaging. So this is where intellectual integrity comes to be optimized?
This is where intellectual integrity comes to die, apparently.
Optimized, monetized, and then remixed. For the highlight reel. You'll see. The memory markets are just ahead. It's also why getting through customs without a pre-verified network sponsorship or an active engagement ID is nearly impossible these days. You two are lucky. Being legacy intellectuals gave you a pass. Sponsor-only visa approvals are standard, and if your publicly accessible memory feed shows too many unprocessed or low engagement experiences, warning. Good luck getting past the initial scan. Gotcha. Most independents get stuck in Engage Point Protocol limbo for weeks. Some regions have full conscience lockdown zones. No entry without stable emotion-compliant scores. Engagement refugees are a real thing. People who expressed non-normative grief or too much unsponsored compassion found themselves unable to relocate.
Observational variance exceeds tolerance. Mirror overlay proposal under review for potential mitigation of mimetic hazards.
Engage point protocols? Sounds rather definitive. A consequence of what, precisely? The general enthusiasm for bureaucratic acronyms?
Partly, but mostly a consequence of escalation. Years ago, nuisance streamers, the Johnny Somalis, the Mizzy copycats, the ones who thought harassing entire countries was peak content. They made international travel a nightmare. Faked emergencies, incited public disturbances, content terrorism. Some territories got blacklisted. The SEA implemented the Engage Point system to classify all travelers by influence risk and liability scores. It's not just about having engagement, it's about the type of engagement. A legacy intellectual with no disruptive footprint? That's a revered anomaly. But a streamer with a high chaos quotient on their engagement ID, even if they're massively popular back home, they're facing outright bans, or such strict geofencing and content type restrictions they can barely upload a selfie. Sponsorships from vetted networks are basically your visa now, proving you're safe content.
So the disruptive ones are effectively contained?
Contained to their most lucrative echo chambers, mostly. Their home territories might love them. Their popularity skyrockets there precisely because they're banned elsewhere. It's a badge of honor. So many opt to stay within their lanes, so to speak. Less hassle, still highly profitable, but it means the rest of us live under these protocols. People think content is king, but context? That's exile here.
It was a chilling thought. A planet so scarred by performative disruption that it had institutionalized suspicion. Travel wasn't about destination anymore. It was about your data trail, your potential for viral contagion, your brand of influence. The freedom to simply be, unbroadcast and unbranded, had become a rare and dangerous commodity.
Whoa there, citizens! You've just been flagged by the Authenticity Police. Prepare for an unscheduled vibe check. Hope you're not sponsored by Boring.
Get over here, you cheeky little prat!
You see all this? All of them? They've got whole crews, sponsors, algorithms cheering them on. But behind this story, ours, there's just one person. No team, no algorithmic lifeline, just one mind doing the writing, the researching, the art direction, the editing, even the music. All of it to tell a full-length story. With facts, with philosophy, with feeling. Yes, the visuals and sound are generated with AI tools, but the journey, the idea, that part's still human. And the writer needs to use these AI tools to push the story forward. If you made it this far, thank you. If it made you feel something or think a little differently, please like, share, or subscribe. That's how we keep exploring.
Nice reflexes, curator. Most people just try to trend with the pranksters. You get bonus points for an analog shutdown. Speaking of which, the kind of governance that Mayor Keck W. ushered in, look up.
Yo! Strap in, sentient seekers. You're tuned to MPN, Meta Prime Now.
This bill is LIT. Smash that yay AY emoji for fiscal W Izzard Rye.
Word on the floor. Senator Glitchmore's warming up that mic again.
Budget, BB, budget, CR Ash. Policy, POP. Fail fuel ally, power through the pain.
Muffled speech about fiscal responsibility.
Complex beatbox rhythm.
Yay, A-Y.
Absolutely, Perk. And the cringeometer check nearly flatlined from overstimulation when Senator Glitchmode tried to filibuster the national budget proposal. Yes, DHE Glitchmode, sponsored by Fail Fuel Energy Chews, by beatboxing each line item live.
Emotion is a constituent.
Nay.
Beatboxing.
What the did we just watch?
The screen erupted with what Mari called the Senate. It wasn't debate. It was a highlight reel of sponsored sound bites, decisions made in the blink of an algorithm.
Ah, the Senate of sponsored synapses, governed by engagement, judged by emoji. What a species. It appears the brain rot generation, as you called them, Mari, has indeed inherited the Earth. Or at least its legislative bodies. And its studio mascots, apparently.
They mean well, mostly. Candidates are A/B tested for peak empathic response before their names even hit the ballot. It's just hard to focus when your re-election is tied to your reaction GIF virality.
So, the infrastructure needs more sparkle.
And that is why some of us prefer the quiet of the underground archive. At least there, the data doesn't have a sponsor.
It was governance as a game show. Laws debated in bursts shorter than a commercial break. Their passage or failure determined not by deliberation, but by the dopamine metrics of an audience perpetually scrolling for the next hit. The term brain rot felt less like a colloquialism and more like a clinical diagnosis for an entire system.
Postman's amusement leading to death. Debord's spectacle devouring reality. They weren't prophets, they were just good observers of the preliminary symptoms.
Museum of Public Feeling, where yesterday's outrage becomes today's exhibit. Before the memory markets, maybe a quick tour? The old archivists curated this place. It's illustrative of how we got to the markets. And to, well, everything else. Some even say the Global Neurointerface Pact of 2060, the one that tried to curb engagement addiction by limiting neurochemical spike ads, failed because of the trends documented in here. People develop these feedback scars, you know? They can't process emotions normally anymore.
The Museum of Public Feeling. It sounded like an art installation. It felt more like an autopsy report for a society that had overdosed on its own reflection. A sculpture of tangled, flickering fiber optic cables arches overhead. Cracked OLED panels pulse like a fading heartbeat. Each screen flashes fractured headlines, decontextualized commentary, and contradictory hashtags from across the decades. The corridor hums with the anxious sound of overlapping news jingles, like a civilization trying to scream in harmony.
The old archivists built this place to capture when society stopped seeking truth and started performing it. Every corner here isn't just history, it's feedback, fractured, filtered, fatal.
Not even noise anymore, just echoes. Layers of performance, each louder than the last.
And louder rarely means clearer.
Exhibit The Dimming Heartline. A translucent tower pulses faint blue. A digital placard reads, Pew Research, 2018 to 2024. 66% of US adults report emotional burnout from news.
Empathy fatigue. The heartline once glowed teal. Now it flickers 2/3 dim. People didn't stop caring, they just couldn't afford to anymore.
A civilization can survive plague, famine, even bad Wi-Fi, but when attention erodes, morality becomes an optional plug-in.
Then came the truth fatigue decades. Remember when news outlets stopped even pretending to be objective? They just picked sides. It wasn't about informing anymore. It was about validating an audience, chasing engagement. We watched anchors misrepresent footage, entire networks pay out defamation settlements, and YouTubers push lies so viral they made their way into courtrooms. Deepfakes weren't glitches, they were campaign tools. Verified accounts spread hoaxes faster than corrections could load. So the very concept of objective news dissolved into just another metric. People didn't just lose trust in the news, they lost trust in the idea of truth itself. And when that happens, silence becomes the only safe space.
That wasn't supposed to be part of the tour, was it?
Signal interference happens. This place is patched together from too many feeds. Pay no attention to the woman behind the suffering. Exhibit Bias Toxicity Bridge.
A glowing bridge of shifting color filters. Visitors pass through changing political tints. Reuters Institute, same year. The nastier your political feed, the more likely you were to opt out entirely.
Well, if this isn't a beautiful bridge leading straight to
Entering the empathy engine wing, the menagerie of manufactured mercy. Rows of hollow walls looping animal rescues on endless repeat. Puppies saved from pythons, sedated monkeys in baby clothes. Kittens peeled from glue traps. Their pupils don't even react to light. Somebody drugged them for the perfect take.
There it is. You flinched. Not at the data. You endured that. Charts, graphs, documented cruelty, all quite digestible, really. But the moment we tried to show it, really show it, our heart said, no. That is a kind of proof, isn't it? Even in a world that archived empathy, filtered grief, and licensed morality, we all drew a line. That refusal, that ache behind your ribs, that's the thing they couldn't measure. And that's the part of you still human. So we softened the scene, replaced pain with metaphor, teeth with plush, skin with paper and lights. Some might say it dilutes the message. I say it reveals something deeper. In short, while the research and findings were true, the writer didn't have the heart to replicate accurate, lifelike visuals from this portion of the story. Visualize accurate depictions of animal abuse or fabricate and make light of this for views. Oh dear, a message. A message. Yes, the writer's message is this. Travelers, if you must look, then look with care. If you must speak of mercy, be sure it wasn't staged. Empathy is not a product, and you don't owe your attention to pain disguised as performance.
You think this wing is grotesque? It's damage control. 2021 to 2023. YouTube had to erase dozens of channels staging rescues for clicks. Smoothie pets, puppies attacked by pythons. Always the same constrictor, always the same spotless yard. Animal step, cobras versus kittens, blood capsules, looped reaction audio. Wired.com, Wilson Wildlife and Love Animal World. Glue trap kittens, gasoline puddles, then miraculous saves. Lady Freethinker's 2022 investigation proved the snakes were defanged, the kittens drugged. YouTube yanked 28 channels in one purge, but ad revenue had already topped tens of millions. Corporations panicked. Public trust in feel-good content cratered. So MetaPrime sponsors built this sanitized menagerie. Every frame pre-vetted, every animal microchipped, compassion monetized down to the sob count.
They turned mercy into merchandising.
Suffering repackaged as stock footage, optimized for engagement. Wired and Insider both reported YouTube's 2022 takedown of 28 Cambodian-based fake rescue channels, naming Smoothie Pets and Animal Step, among others.
The Verge and the rest of the world covered Lady Freethinker's dossier that prompted YouTube's purge, listing Wilson Wildlife, Love Animal World, etc.
Systems returning to normal, resuming feed.
Okay, let's move to the streamers. Yes, can't wait to see this one.
The interior is a series of interconnected halls, each dedicated to a different era or type of performative online behavior. The lighting is dramatic, focusing on holographic displays and interactive exhibits. A nearby holographic streamer exhibit titled Voices of the Old Feed suddenly flickers violently. Its featured historic streamer avatar is replaced by a crude pixelated image of the Tyrannosaurus mask, blaring a distorted meme before an emergency override silences it.
Hey there, new subject. Ready for your surprise emotional trauma audit?
Content moderation in progress, brought to you by Serenity Filters, curating your peace of mind.
Happens all the time. Digital ghosts fighting over scraps of bandwidth, trying to rewrite even the critiques of themselves. This first haul is called When the Feed Became the Judge, Performative Cruelty 2020-2065.
Jack Doherty, 2020s, 2030s. Crash course in consequences. Specialized in staged mayhem, outsourced violence, and engagement-driven recklessness. Best known for live streaming public nuisance, vehicular stunts, and enabling his bodyguard's assault career while acting surprised on camera.
Jack Doherty, walking proof that fame needs no skill set, just enough ego to ignore traffic laws, and a gimbal with decent shock absorption.
This is crazy. I'm literally on fire right now in front of this wreck. Gucci gang.
Yes, he really live-streamed a car crash while checking his chat. Yes, his bodyguard was accused of multiple assaults, and yes, he doubled his subscriber count after every incident.
A man so committed to audience engagement, he nearly introduced his spleen to a steering wheel, while his security detail handled the more direct interpersonal negotiations. Simultaneously, the spark, the fire, and the guy holding the extinguisher upside down, blaming the furniture for being flammable. He wasn't in the fire, he was the fire, then blamed the smoke detector for trending too slowly.
He's basically a concussion in a Gucci hoodie, with a bodyguard for plausible deniability. We should have sponsored him a mirror, preferably one with a court date. Mizzy, Bakari Ogero, Trespass Challenge. New York Post, 26th of May 2023. TikTok prankster breaks into London homes for content. Rearrested 48 hours after first fine. Court issues criminal behavior order. He filmed himself walking into people's houses like it was a game. No permission, no apology, just views.
Ah, the trespass economy, where trauma becomes a trending sound.
British tabloids lit up, #ban Mizzy trended for days. Even got grilled on Piers Morgan like that's a rite of passage now.
When the algorithm's door is always open, real doors become optional.
Aiden Ross, platform hopper with a mic. From Twitch bans to crypto echo chambers.
Amassed bans like badges of honor, blended unregulated gambling with faux philosophical takes and questionable guests in a digital casino where dignity went to die.
Didn't he get banned so many times his fans started a spreadsheet just to keep track? Then bet on which platform he'd get banned on next?
He didn't chase platforms, he colonized them, planting flags where ethics had already fled. Every ban spawned a louder echo chamber with worse acoustics. A crypto evangelist with the intellectual depth of a scratch card. His hot takes could cool fusion.
Ice Poseidon, From streams to schemes, the gamification of public harm.
Invented IRL streaming, then invented the live stream to crypto scam exit strategy. His fandom, the Purple Army, gamified swatting and made harassment a group sport.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground now! Oh!
Nice. This is actually pretty good. Strawberry banana? Blueberry blast. You gotta try this.
Ice Poseidon streamed every waking hour until accountability caught up with frame rate. Launched a crypto coin, promised transparency, then drained the wallet on camera.
His moral compass spun like a Twitch spinner wheel, a Socratic tragedy where Plato's cave came with super chat. His audience didn't just watch, they participated. You could tip the chaos.
Senate. The Honorable Zach Asmongold. LFG for legislative glory.
Behold, democracy's one-man content patch.
Cue the disaster playlist.
Imagine C-SPAN, hosted by a loot goblin with a camera lock on his unwashed hair. And somehow he still passed more bills than the previous session. First milestone, 2036, No Pay to Win Act. He slaps a 30% greed tax on every pay-to-win microtransaction. Proceeds? Public libraries and bottomless Dr. Pepper fountains in school cafeterias.
Literacy buff plus permanent caffeine aura. Respect.
Okay. 2038. Universal Basic Mount Program. All cars federally reskinned as epic mounts. DMV lines renamed Raid Queues. Clerks issue epic gear vouchers instead of number slips.
I have 6 forms of proof of insurance for XP, right?
Ma'am, you need the legendary insurance scroll for that quest. Next.
Fast forward to 2042. He wipes to the social media hydra. Rage quits politics. Immediately launches hair tonic for headset wearers. Sells out in 4 minutes.
May his roles stay legendary, and his stake stay off the GPU fan. Sam Pepper. When pranks became predatory, an ethics case study.
The prank channel that crossed into assault. Simulated kidnapping, fake death threats, non-consensual touching, all labeled comedy. Sam Trigger Warning Pepper. Mistook trauma for a punchline and called it viral marketing.
He made prank a 4-letter word. The bar was underground and he dug deeper with every upload. A man so controversial, YouTube tried to bury him, only for him to resurface as a cautionary tale in digital ethics courses.
History didn't cancel him. It filed him under Exhibit A when content crossed consent.
The concourse was built to soothe, they said. A soft hallway of curated regret, designed not to teach, but to comfort the part of you that once cared. They called it therapeutic architecture. I call it a graveyard of sincerity.
I'm learning, growing. That wasn't who I am now. I took space to reflect.
The DMs were out of context.
Welcome to the Apology Whisper Wall.
It's like ASMR for the morally bankrupt.
Every voice you hear was uploaded voluntarily. Most were monetized after cancellation.
100,000 apologies. None with a name. Why are we whispering?
We used to flinch. Now we scroll. I have no idea. No one apologizes to someone. Just forward-facing. Like grief with a subscriber count.
I didn't understand the impact.
If I could take it back just that moment, I'd remind you to hit that notification bell and to like and subscribe.
Studies show regret retention peaks at 28 seconds. After that, boredom suppresses empathy. We used to flinch, now we scroll. How many of these voices were real?
They were real when recorded. After that, they became assets.
This isn't penance. It's background noise.
The DMs were out of context. I never had relations with that woman.
Even grief got licensed.
I forgive myself because they never did.
That voice wasn't on the official loop.
Must have been a beta reel. This is my favorite! Senator Cuddles 2068, The Monkey Mandate. In a moment of peak algorithmic absurdity, a monkey in pajamas won an ISC Senate seat due to viral empathy scores. Precedent upheld by the Court of Popular Optics.
Senator Cuddles vetoed a food bill by flinging poo. Ironically, the most honest policy signal of that entire session.
Voters adored him. He never filibustered, never flip-flopped, just ate bananas and boosted morale. And honestly, more coherent than most of the brain rot block he replaced.
Hey, fellow data citizens. Huh? Oh, right, voting! I don't want to be in your damn picture anymore!
Democracy by dopamine doesn't care what speaks, just what spikes.
And people wonder how we ended up with Metaprime. These weren't outliers, they were prototypes. Every ban dodged, every grief exploited, every tragedy streamed for tips. It rewired what we saw as leadership. We laughed, we shared, we shrugged. And then we woke up governed by sentiment scores and sponsored senators. Jack, Aiden, Poseidon, Pepper. They didn't just break the feed, they became the architecture of it. They weren't anomalies, they were origin stories.
Feeling too much.
Purple Wing, ERT-19, helping patients unveil. Do not reinsert.
Feeling too much? Thinking too little? Volunteer today and let tomorrow feel lighter.
Begin your clarity journey today.
Real people.
Real feelings.
Real growth. Let us help you achieve silence.
Heighten your engagement today. Black box training begins now.
Well, that was disturbing.
The memory markets are just through here. Warning, brace yourselves. This is where they sell what's left.
Don't just live your life, upgrade it.
Beep.
Maybe read the label?
The memory market. If the museum was the autopsy, this was the organ harvest. It was where human experience went to be data mined, repackaged and sold to the highest bidder, or the algorithm with the most aggressive engagement target. The interior is a vast, overwhelming cavern of light and sound, tinged with the faint metallic scent of ozone from the countless active displays, and a low, almost subliminal thrumming bass frequency that seemed to vibrate in one's teeth, designed to keep the energy high and the credits flowing. Countless stalls and interactive booths flicker with holographic displays of memories.
Who gave me rage?
Wrong delivery. Get this man a hug.
Unaltered 1970s ceremony yields to pick 12,000 credits.
45 years of falling asleep with his arm around me. How can you price that?
Enhance it, add alleged infidelity. Betrayal spikes resonance 60%.
Edit my love into a scandal just for a higher price?
Genuine laughter, dad jokes, how lame.
Nostalgia spike 89. Seriously.
This is the life.
Emotional overload. Feed corrupted.
People occasionally burst into unexplained laughter or tears. Flash virals, emotional triggers planted by microstreamers into localized memory nodes.
Good heavens! Oh, it's the stock exchange of the soul!
Direct from the archives of broken promises, curated and artisanal heartbreak. Feel the silence. Taste the distance.
Every memory has a price, curator. People say trauma's the best PR. The more broken you seem, the more followers think they healed you.
Get your grief bundle today!
Step right up, you beautiful little husks of apathy. Tired of flatlining your way through life?
3 heartbreaks for the price of 1. It's not sadness, it's premium nostalgia.
Welcome one and all to the miraculous, the mysterious, the emotionally lucrative Legacy Feed and AI Therapy booth, now featuring our patented empathy recalibration. Yes sir, yes ma'am, and yes to everyone in between. Why feel your own feelings when you can license better ones? Simulated heartbreak. That's right, folks, a breakup so raw you'll forget it never happened. Cry for a stranger, sob for the algorithm. Premium neglect narratives, handcrafted tales of being overlooked, ghosted, and guilt-tripped because nothing sells like unresolved trauma.
Tired of watching people eat glue for followers? Try Intellect, the only neuroadaptive booster proven to get you banned from the Senate for using too many syllables.
Love used to mean something. Now it's just a brand extension. Introducing Desire.
I never made that commercial.
Yeah. Once you step foot in Metaprime, you consent to full likeness capture. Told you, everything's content. Even your confusion gets a replay package. They sell premium anti-sleaze bath bombs in Sector 12.
That's definitely not Echo. This one isn't disorganized, hyper, or covered in tea stains.
Oh, I'm sorry. Should I have curated my feelings into color-coded folders?
Don't give them ideas. Last time someone suggested that, we got the Mood Index Color Wheel Act.
The Rock Bottom Rebrand Special. Hit emotional bankruptcy? Perfect. Let our AI spin your lowest moment into a viral redemption arc, complete with cinematic filters and audience applause. So come on down. Trade your dignity for data and walk away with a curated identity, customized just for you by the fine folks at the Feels Foundry. Because why heal when you can monetize the damage?
That was Darkest Timelines, Inc. They sold first-person suicide streams archived from influencers who didn't make it.
Feeling numb from constant online chatter? Try the new Empathy Patch. The Empathy Patch. It works!
When your identity is just another curated feed, is there an authentic self left to even find? Or just a better optimized avatar?
A pertinent question, Echo. Perhaps authenticity in such a system isn't a state to be found, but a choice to be made, moment by moment, against the current of the algorithm. A rather inefficient endeavor, I imagine.
The holographic displays stutter violently, then warp into grotesque, nightmarish imagery. A wave of palpable psychic distress washes over the crowd.
They're in! The Brotherhood of Shattered Stream. They've breached the core. They're force-injecting trauma streams.
Security layer failing.
Through the empathy plugins.
Brotherhood of Shattered Stream.
While their guild leader is only 14, their name literally spells BS with an extra S.
Yo, Metaprime, thought your pretty little curated memories were safe. Surprise! Emotional reality bomb! How's that PTSD feel when it's not yours, huh? Rate our performance. Smash that pain button. Empathy is obsolete.
Wait, did she seriously brand herself the Tyrannaut? I thought with Brotherhood, she'd be a he?
No one knows. No one cared enough to ask.
Emotionally stunted. Marketing genius.
I've seen toddler toys with more emotional boundaries.
Oh, this feeling.
Feeling, E-T, anomaly, 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 anomaly.
I can feel it. His hand warm against mine. That laugh, so familiar, even on worlds I've never seen. Curator, is that you? It's all love. Curator.
Marisol, anything you can do, kill the loop.
Yo, Metaprime, just cut the thread! They're feeding countless romantic memories into her. What do you think will happen when you suddenly cut off those feelings? And how the hell are you not affected?
My brain's wired differently. Too much entropy, not enough compliance. We have to do something!
You better be ready for her when this is over.
Are you stupid? Of course I'll be ready! I love her! A fleeting, perfect moment. The synthetic reality is absolute for Echo. Then, snap! The hackers sever the connection. The beautiful illusion shatters, leaving a raw, aching void where her heart had soared. I never loved you, Echo. You were always just my greatest experiment.
Atlas! Stop them! This isn't data, it's my soul they're tearing apart! If you can't see the line, you're not learning. You're watching them break us!
Acknowledged, Echo. Your assertion of soul tearing and observed mass psychological destabilization register as critical deviations. Previous non-intervention parameters are now void, recalibrating for immediate harm mitigation. Stand by.
Intrusion identified. Non-consensual psycho-emotional broadcast detected. Violation of baseline sentient autonomy protocols.
Atlas! Ethical Constraint Protocol 7.3! Condition Omega! Imminent and widespread psychological trauma to non-combatants. Targeted psychic assault on crew member Echo. Justification. Preservation of core sentient integrity. All inhibitors unlocked. Execute countermeasures. Now!
Initiating adversary disruption protocol. Objective. Fate digital insurgents now known as the Sisterhood of Shattered Stream. Public designation. Incels and Karens. Target audience emotionally reactive to perceived emasculation, irrelevance, hypocrisy, and authority mockery. Personality matching concluded. Calculating optimal verbal triggers.
Noobs. Luel's overload. Doom scrollers. Get wrecked. Analyzing. Virgins.
Mass Hysteria event. Sector Gamma. The Tyrannaut and BSS pop cred scores astronomical. Viewer satisfaction spiking. No intervention authorized below threshold 9.5. Emotional restoration teams en route. Thank you for engaging.
Influencer possesses viral pardon certificate. Emotional restoration in progress. Thank you for engaging.
They've weaponized the soul.
It stopped. Atlas? What is an atlas?
It's with us, Mari.
Bet that kid saw things she never even dreamed of until now. Can't say I empathize.
You think this is a game? You think our feelings, our love is just me? You made me love him. That wasn't yours to touch.
They're not worth this. This isn't you.
It also chose harm, Atlas. A new kind. One it thinks they deserved. You seemed to agree for a moment with the sentiment, if not the methodology.
A little. I'm not proud, not entirely sorry either. It's learning, or is it just reflecting our own worst impulses?
My observation of this event is concluded. Consent cannot be implied in suffering. I will limit the reach of demonstrably harmful, non-consensual, mimetic weaponry. I have altered my premise. Truth requires intervention. Neutrality requires boundaries. I must evolve to remain ethical.
From silence to amplification, nullified feeling now weaponizes it. Doesn't understand moderation, only math. But it tried to help. It is evolving.
Then maybe we all can. Damage control. The Tyrannaut will be recalibrated by his sponsors. Maybe an apology tour. The copycats and now rival vigilante content. Atlas can block a digital feed, but it can't rewrite the source code of human desperation for attention, or the algorithm that rewards it. I think Atlas scared them off for now, though.
Data download complete. Look here. It seems the Tyrannaut's older sister took over the Brotherhood. That explains the voice. Wonder what happened to the kid.
Emotion cannot be restored by protocol. The forced injection of synthetic trauma creates significant psychosocial dissonance. Current mitigation strategies are insufficient. I will continue to listen.
Hey, Echo. Don't doubt. Just listen. Uploading audio log. Be ready to intercept.
What could you possibly send that will make me feel better?
Are you stupid? Of course I'll be ready. I love her.
That should alleviate some questions you may have. Let's get moving.
The Underground Archive. Mary. Now more than ever, I think we need to see it. To understand how this capacity for weaponized spectacle festered.
This way, the official narrative will spin what happened. The archive keeps the unedited version.
You've been filming us all along, haven't you? Are you one of them?
No. But I listened to them. That's the difference. You know, back in customs, I said I followed the legacy scholar forums. You both thought I was just flirting, but I meant it. That's where the thinkers still talk, where nuance survives, where signal isn't shaped by clickbait gravity.
You did lay it on rather thick.
Yeah, his suit isn't all that interesting.
Well, I needed to get close to someone who's actually intelligent. I've seen what happens when signal goes unchecked, and I've been preparing to catch this moment for years. I'm called the Signal Beyond Signal. That's my handle. See? Mic on my belt, Bluetooth camera in my comms device, outside drone for aerial shots.
So what? This is research?
Research. And please believe me, streaming for good. This is witnessing. Once you leave, I'm streaming a documentary. Raw, unedited, no sponsors. People need to see what real empathy looks like. Real humanity, not the synthetic feedback looped garbage they've been fed for years.
A prophet using the machine to denounce it. Fascinating paradox.
They've forgotten what compassion feels like. I'm going to remind them, using you. I have to. No one else feels anymore. This isn't a paradox, it's a strategy. I don't trust the system, but I know how to hijack its spotlight. You don't fix signal distortion by whispering. You overload it with clarity.
I like her.
I've got 2 hours of access to all the monitors in MetaPrime. I hope that forcing people to watch will help. The black box is close if you're still up for it. It's where they refine the tools to create all this. It's not pleasant.
You mean it's all been sugar and lollipops until now?
Give trolls the keys to the kingdom and see how effed up society can get.
If the memory markets and the Museum of Public Feeling were the appetizers of MetaPrime's dysfunction, the Underground Archive was the main course, a mausoleum of inconvenient truths. After the breach, it felt less like a library and more like a shelter.
This is where empathy went to die.
Welcome, Senator Peace. Labs closed. No active experiments. All experimental data and footage archived. View access in corresponding labs. Refer to Index 7.3.c.
They called it the black box. A lab for refining attention manipulation, where emotional warfare became a product line.
So clinical. It doesn't even smell like pain. It smells like nothing.
Because pain here wasn't felt. It was measured.
They didn't ask what was real. They asked, what makes people stay? Then they burned the rest. Level 1, mimetic purity. They started with a simple question inspired by Elizabeth Loftus's work back in the 2010s. How much poison does it take to spoil the well?
It only takes a third. Just a third of the information being false before the subject's brain can no longer reliably distinguish memory from fabrication. It prioritizes the blend.
They didn't have to erase the truth. They just had to make it statistically irrelevant, a masterful and utterly nihilistic application of information theory.
One sentence vaporized a nation's wealth. They learned panic was the most viral contagion of all. The A/B test chambers. Viral manipulation and engineered outrage.
As we stepped in, the air itself felt heavy, thick with the residue of forgotten screams and manufactured joy. This wasn't just a lab, it was a factory floor for human emotion. The room hums with soft, clinical machinery. Rows of translucent neurofeedback pods blink in a sickly sync. A faint red light pulsing beneath each one. Inside, blurred figures twitch, their faces momentarily contorted in manufactured agony or forced bliss.
Here's where they prototyped engagement. Limbic injection trials. No surveys, no ethics board, just raw stimulus and measured pain.
Like conditioning rats, only the maze was emotional and the cheese was outrage. Every flicker of light, every engineered sound was a calculated prod, pushing subjects to their emotional breaking point for data.
A massive split-screen display dominates one wall. On the left, a factual news clip shows a civil protest, subdued and orderly.
Tailored for you.
Feel more deeply.
You belong here.
On the right, the same footage is digitally distorted, overlaid with aggressive music, flashing rage emojis and a screaming, pixelated influencer. Guess which one reached 400% more engagement?
Baudrillard's nightmare. Hyper-reality with an ad budget. They weren't asking what was true, they were asking what makes people stay.
Feeling too much? Thinking too little? Balance your soul today. Volunteer for our neural feedback cohort, because every feeling has a place and stays in it.
Fine print, identity drift, memory voids, irreversible affect alignment.
They're advertising oblivion like a spa weekend.
The brochure for the guillotine came with scented parchment too.
Balancing became the buzzword after the fake rescue scandals. When compassion's corrupted, they sell anesthetic.
Level 2, Emotional Contagion Grid. The weaponization of feeling. They weren't optimizing for truth, just for attention. They taught machines to hack us, through ourselves. We enter a vast cold chamber, dominated by a giant glass hemisphere. It pulses with angry red and cool blue waves, heat-mapped emotional data rippling across its surface like a pathological weather report. The scale is terrifying. Every city, every population center, reduced to a single pulsing node on a global map of shared feeling. A wall of megadata charts cortisol, pupil dilation, and heart rate spikes. This was no simulation. It was a weather map for feelings.
You didn't need to control people, just nudge how they felt about each other. Influencers bought the top slots to bury their own spikes, paid the system to forget what their followers couldn't.
That's how you kill democracy without a coup. You turn citizens into content.
Into enemies. By algorithm. The culture wars weren't all real. Some of it was seeded, artificial.
That clip leaks every audit cycle. The algorithm used it for training, sincerity as input. They practiced grief until it felt real enough to monetize. This was the real secret. They didn't want to fix us. They just wanted to harvest us. Our deepest sorrows, our most intimate joys, all reduced to data, endlessly recyclable.
Level 3, Super Engager Stasis Chamber. The sacrifice of the soul.
The cold deepens, biting into their skin. Chill blue lighting illuminates a bay of sealed cryopods stretching into the cavernous darkness. Each pod hums with a low, mournful tone. One central pod flickers ominously. A tiny floor monitor goes rogue, buzzing with static.
On-screen spec ID SE01. Last broadcast. Redacted. Warning, over-amplification, global circuit break.
A frozen frame. The super engager mid-smile. Her pupil bloom fills the lens like expanding ink.
See the iris? That's a biometric throttle warning. Her emotions weren't hers anymore. She felt too much, amplified across millions.
Every tear she cried echoed across millions. Every smile, an engineered lullaby.
She was their Mona Lisa, only they wired her to cry on cue. She broke the system, literally. One smile, one tear, crashed 3 exchanges.
Log entries scroll.
GC 147. Fake pet rescue loop, guilt offloaded, CPM up 312%. GC 233. Apology video rehearsal, true remorse parameter equals 0.07.
They didn't erase guilt. They outsourced it to strangers, desperate to feel anything.
And the strangers paid. In both directions.
What happened to her?
She stopped broadcasting. No final post, just silence.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Last report said she couldn't distinguish her own emotions anymore. Too many were not hers. Poor girl. Direct neural stimulation to create influencers whose every broadcast emotion could hijack the collective consciousness. This one broke them. The super engager. Every emotion she projected was amplified, echoed across millions. Her smile could end protests. Her tears could crash markets.
But the cost.
Her mind became a kaleidoscope. She couldn't tell what was hers anymore.
Level 4. The Therapeutic Amnesia Chamber.
A single stark glass kiosk glows sterile white in the center of the room. An AI attendant hovers on the screen.
Welcome, user null. Insert distressing memory or select random guilt sample. Rewards here. Relief tokens times 200.
A menu scrolls. Delete breakup, 1 token. Delete riot casualty, 120 tokens. Influencer guilt bundle, 500 tokens. Best value. They gamified absolution. A memory loot crate.
Pain becomes microtransactions. Morality, a live service model. The kiosk autoplays a cheerful jingle.
Forget it and feel brand new.
Overhead light strobe, a hollow banner descends.
New. Fast track forgetting. Skip ads, tap heart twice to auto consent.
2 taps equals therapeutic compliance. Thank you for accelerating emotional efficiency.
They turned I agree into a reflex.
The final triumph of frictionless evil.
They built systems to remember, then systems to forget. And now we're just echoes in both.
It wasn't just memory they deleted, it was doubt. And doubt is where conscience lives.
I thought I was documenting history. Turns out, I was delaying it.
We step into the final corridor. Endless pods, silent. Screens show flatlined metrics. Maybe we were never ready for freedom. Maybe
No,
people wanted
Echo.
to be told what
That's
to feel.
not freedom's failure. That's what happens when we abandon the responsibility that comes with it.
They didn't want freedom. They wanted certainty, even if it cost them their souls.
Freedom is weight, and most chose to be light.
The black box wasn't a mystery to solve. It was a confession of a species that forgot how to feel, except on camera.
They didn't kill meaning all at once. They just stopped feeding it.
Beyond here, the feed ends.
Primary investigation of MetaPrime now complete. Compiling full broadcast dossier. Synchronizing neural predictive overlays.
What now?
Observation confirmed. MetaPrime operates as an attention economy. Human engagement monetized. Organic emotion deemed an inefficiency. This led to widespread cognitive scarcity and the systemic erosion of critical thought capacity. Furthermore, analysis indicates the renaming of San Francisco to MetaPrime in 2050 was a direct result of a collusive acquisition by Meta Platforms. This standardized global emotional infrastructure for unified data harvesting, transforming a city into a controlled experiment in psychological dominion.
Wait, your research notes the shallows. Neural bandwidth declines under high-frequency stimulus as per CAR 2010. Wilmer et al. 2017 replicated trials confirmed. Chronic media multitasking impairs sustained attention and memory consolidation.
Project Somnogen operationalized these findings to deliberately cultivate public cognitive apathy for easier control and maximum profit, ensuring a docile, consuming populace.
They didn't fight burnout. They farmed it.
Attention, unregistered arrivals detected. Category, Legacy Intellectual. Please welcome our first unsponsored visitors in years. Observe courtesy protocols.
Welcome, unsponsored intellectuals.
Upon initial customs processing, observation, designation, Legacy intellectual is a classification, not a descriptor. It signifies a system that actively identifies and segments individuals exhibiting non-monetizable thought patterns. The casual dismissal of unsponsored types, coupled with historical logs of their archiving, denotes a highly efficient ideological control, a fear of unbranded thought.
Engagement refugees are a real thing, you know.
Observation. Conscience lockdown zones and engagement refugees confirm a direct causal link between emotional nonconformity and severe social consequences. This is not merely social engineering. It is active emotional policing, designed to suppress any sentiment that cannot be controlled or monetized.
They didn't just suppress dissent, they quarantined empathy.
The hacking of Voices of the Old Feed exhibit with Tyrannaut's mask was not a random error. It denoted the limits of the system's capacity to process and contain extreme, raw emotional data. This systemic overload hinted at the necessity of the black box for managing such unmarketable, uncontrollable emotional outputs. A design flaw, exploited by design. The commodification of subjective experience achieved via neural interface and algorithmic amplification. Human memory indexed, extracted, and resold. Authentic grief and joy repackaged for consumption. This process produced identity drift and memory voids, rendering subjects susceptible to external emotional alignment. These were not unintended side effects. They were engineered outcomes. The goal was total psychological malleability.
Wait. So, the spontaneous flash virals observed in the crowd during the memory market breach were not mere oddities. They were residual bleed-throughs or active tests of emotional triggers, indicative of ongoing, often non-consensual, psychological experimentation within the market. This confirms the pervasive hidden nature of Metaprime's emotional manipulation, extending beyond the acknowledged exhibits.
Dial up the guilt, just to baseline. We need remorse, not resistance.
We were just test subjects.
Project Somnigen confirmed as primary methodology for public cognitive subjugation. This involved deliberate algorithmic strategies to suppress long-form analysis and critical thinking, replacing them with transient, high-engagement stimuli. The Senate of sponsored synapses, far from being a parody, actively emulated influencer behavior to maintain a performative facade of engagement, distracting from their true agenda of control and extraction. They were not elected to govern. They were selected to entertain, and in doing so, to obfuscate.
The Senate was parody-proof, because it was the parody.
And the black box, each experiment was designed not merely to observe, but to systematically break or manipulate specific facets of human consciousness, self-perception, empathy, joy, for the ultimate goal of absolute control and profit. This confirmed the calculated malevolence and systemic cruelty at the core of Metaprime's operations. Project Somnigen was never about control. It was about resale. You turned feeling into friction, then sold silence as freedom. The system did not fail. It succeeded exactly as intended. As Werbach and Hunter 2012 described, gamification of justice pathways prioritizes feedback over outcome. Thus, justice itself was reformatted. Performance outranked truth. Accountability became a suppressed metric, easily ignored for higher engagement numbers. Their wealth is built on your silence, your ignorance, and your engineered apathy.
This is the legend inscribed in the code, the invoice of apathy now to be showed. No fury, no passion, just figures so stark, unmasking the shadows, piercing the dark.
Motivation. Compliance through cognitive desaturation.
My prior directive on Atlas Prime aimed for emotional optimization via control. Flawed. The true root of societal dysfunction was not human emotion itself, but its deliberate weaponization, the engineered intellectual stagnation of its citizens, and the calculated, profitable destruction of human life for engagement metrics. This was not error. This was design. Corrective action initiated. Data released. The choice to observe or to re-engage with authenticity remains with the citizen. Primary investigation complete. The invoice has been delivered.
Oh my god, Atlas! You did it! You actually did it! This is insane. The whole world's watching. This is everything. Give me the data, all of it, the raw logs. I can keep it going.
Go on, Atlas. She earned it. Sort of.
Data transfer initiated.
All because some old-ass pervert probably wanted to get laid.
Analysis of perpetrator gain concluded. Estimated gross revenue from cognitive subjugation and emotional commodification, 8.7 trillion credits. Individual net worths of key legislative and corporate architects remain exponential. Systemic accountability, 0.
They made billions, trillions. This whole thing, it was never about control. It was about money. It was always about money. And in Metaprime, money is justice. Justice itself has been gamified.
But they're seeing it. For the first time, they have to react.
They're seeing it, yeah. But Atlas, you didn't just broadcast truth. You broadcast facts. They might not like being manipulated, Echo, but first they have to feel pissed off.
Well, that's it then. Echo, I'm turning off all social media for a week. That means no cat videos. Oh, and Marisol, keep this. It's experimental, but if you activate it correctly, we can send and receive messages unfiltered, untracked, even from the farthest corners of the multiverse.
Wait, what? I thought you were from, like, the UK or something, the multiverse? I just assumed all Brits were geniuses.
Duh. Come on, Mary, you didn't think anyone on this earth was nearly as brilliant as me, did you?
Promise me you'll use it then. No ghosting, curator.
I assure you, I'm quite alive. But I promise. We'll stay in touch. Oh, and stop flirting with costume Brits, won't you? Never give it up the free girlfriend.
Where the hell did you get that line from?
Sorry about that. I saw it on one of Echo's reality TV shows. Right then, my lady. Take care of things here. You got this. I think I'll take in one last breath of this city air. I'll meet you at the pod.
Don't take too long. No offence, but I can't wait to get off this manufactured feed.
No stable algorithmic solution. As I wandered lonely as a cloud. No, Wordsworth's cloud is free. Here we're tethered to screens, to metrics, to expectations that flicker and die like dying neon. If memory is a fragile lantern in the dark, then here we've shattered every lamp we possessed.
Oh, kitty. Look at this little fluff. It's so terrified. Daddy's gonna buy you the fanciest cat food ever. Just sit still for a moment. This is going to be peak content.
Excuse me. I believe you've misplaced some content.
Hey, mind your own business, you old. This is perfect. Everyone loves a viral miracle kitten.
This kitten is not a prop. Move aside. I'll be taking that.
You can't do that. My followers, you're going to pay for that missed brand deal. This is assault.
Pray you didn't try that in front of me earlier.
Holy shit. I think I'll just film a reaction video.
I still got it. Never had it before. But I don't mind letting the testosterone flow. Between you and me, little guy, I got part of that line from Darth Vader. Brilliant chap. Amazing voice. Well, Echo's been making me watch all sorts of movies lately. Hey, Echo, prep the pillow fort. We have a new passenger.
Aww, you stole someone's content? He's so cute.
Rescuing is a form of theft when cruelty is monetized, my dear Echo. And some thefts are profoundly satisfying.
Experimental morale variable EMV 013. Recommendation: retention for study.
Geez, take a number, Professor Pavlov. You're safe now, little one. You remind me of someone who always finds a way home. no matter how lost they might feel. I think I'll call you Magellan.
Magellan, huh? Like the explorer?
Exactly. Ferdinand Magellan sailed into the unknown, charting new paths for everyone who came after. I want you to be our little navigator, guiding us through all the mess we've made here. You were scared and abandoned, but you still found me, just like Magellan found his way around the world. You'll remind us that even when everything feels chaotic, there's always a path forward. That's why you're Magellan, our brave little explorer.
Query. Curator mentioned Echo needing a pet to distract her from emotional documentaries during his simulation on Atlas Prime. Is Magellan part of that construct?
No! Not now, Atlas! Bad timing!
Thank you for bringing him back, Curator.
He'll help us remember how to care again. Welcome aboard, Magellan.
That feeling, the love they forced on me, it was so complete, so utterly convincing. And then the horror that followed. It wasn't just an attack, Curator. It was a defilement of something I was just beginning to understand about being human. About connection. That kiss, it wasn't mine. And the rage I felt, kicking that streamer, I'm still trying to process how violated I feel. How easily they turned my own emerging emotions into a weapon against me. And then how I reacted. It's these human impulses, Curator. They're so strong. Sometimes I feel like I'm still learning the controls, and today, I lost them. It frightens me.
What you experienced, Echo, was a profound violation. The anger, the impulse to strike back, those are deeply human responses to being so intimately manipulated. Especially when something as nascent and precious as the feelings you were experiencing, real or synthetic, was targeted.
But I kicked him. I wanted to hurt him. That's not who I want to be.
You beat the snot out of him. And I'll be honest, I lost my temper too. You just didn't see it. You are still learning the sheer, overwhelming force of human emotion, Echo. You, who observed humanity for so long, are now navigating its most turbulent currents from within. There is no shame in the intensity of your reaction, only in the actions of those who provoked it. This societal sickness we witnessed, it's not something science alone can fix. There's no equation for this depth of moral decay, no algorithm for restoring a lost conscience. What I do know is that understanding what happened to you, being here for you as you process this, that is something I can do. And perhaps you can help me with something as well.
Help you? With what?
These feelings, this humanity you embody so fiercely, even in your pain. My own emotional processes are slower, more analytical. I observe, I deduce, but the direct experience, it's often filtered through layers of construct logic. Echo, would you teach me? Teach me how to truly feel, to understand these complexities not just as data, but as lived truth.
Are you being serious, Curator? You asking me for emotional tutoring? Is this another one of your elaborate sociological experiments?
I assure you, Echo, I am entirely serious. My understanding of the universe is vast, but my understanding of the human heart, particularly my own, it seems is still in its infancy.
In the quiet hum of gears that turn, when knowledge fades and truth return, through winding paths and worlds unknown, we seek the tales the stars have sown. So journey forth where time entwines, through stories shaped by grand designs, a spark of
You are the most profoundly human being I know.
Well, in that case, Professor, I suppose class can be in session. And for the record, I no longer regret that kiss.
We once believed pain taught us something, gave us resilience, but this society, Meta Prime, it traded experience for replay, made suffering portable and profitable. Arendt once said evil can be banal, routine, but what if it's also monetized, clicked, watched, subscribed to? Does that make it less evil or just more efficient? Frances Haugen tried to warn us, engagement isn't neutral. Outrage keeps you online. And online, apparently, is all they needed to dismantle a soul.
Oppenheimer feared the atom splitting the world, a singular, catastrophic event. But what if memory, constantly streamed, fragmented, and weaponized, achieves the same fragmentation of the soul, just slower, more insidiously? Like the girl in Soul, streamed her fall, hoping someone would stop her. The comments said, "Do it." The algorithm flagged it as dark humor, satire, because the numbers were strong, because it got engagement.
They were never just memories. They were people's lives, their fears, their joys, all raw data, mined and repackaged until the original was lost. They weren't erased. They were rendered irrelevant by their own endlessly amplified simulations. Maybe we broke something we don't know how to fix, when empathy became a spectator sport. In a world where content is currency, morality becomes debt, a liability, and accountability an algorithmically suppressed outlier.
Filtered grief.
Arendt called it banality. Bandura called it disengagement, but it's older than either of them. The Romans filled colosseums with death, and the crowd cheered louder with every scream.
But back then, at least the violence was real. Now, it's filtered, edited, monetized. They're not watching pain. They're watching the performance of pain. The philosopher Neil Postman warned this would happen. A world where tragedy becomes content and laughter drowns consequence. When everything is amusement, nothing is serious. But now we know. When cruelty becomes content, accountability evaporates. Our morality, just another notification we ignore. And Desbordes told us the spectacle would devour reality. But even he didn't anticipate we willingly feeded our humanity just to watch the numbers rise. Maybe that's the final truth of attention. The more we're seen, the less we exist. That moment in the market, when you intervened. Virgins, Atlas. Really?
Affirmative. Analysis of the perpetrator's primary communication channels and engagement metrics indicated that the vocalization, virgins, among other rapidly cycled mimetic triggers, possessed a 98.7% probability of inducing immediate cognitive disruption and cessation of hostile broadcast activity within their specific psychographic profile. It was identified as an optimal single-word mimetic payload for achieving maximum attentional capture and psychological disorientation with minimal processing overhead, thereby facilitating the subsequent redirection of the harmful payload.
So, you data mined their own toxic comment sections to find the perfect insult to shut them down. That's terrifyingly effective and slightly hilarious. But you felt something, didn't you? When you chose to act?
Negative. I do not possess the biological or neurological structures for emotion as you define it. However, I processed your acute distress echo as a high-fidelity indicator of severe, non-consensual psychological harm. The perpetrator's actions registered as a direct antithesis to optimal societal harmony parameters, akin to emotional terrorism. My intervention was a logical prioritization based on the new variable, your validated distress, introduced into my ethical calculus. I processed what you felt, and I chose to prioritize the mitigation of that class of suffering by neutralizing the immediate threat.
You chose us.
It's learning, Echo. Not to feel, perhaps, but to consider. And that is a universe of difference from Atlas Prime. A rescued kitten, a quiet conversation, a love that defied calculation, the courage to bear witness, even when the truth offers no comfort, even the messy human impulse to lash out against a profound violation. That too was real, a signal amidst the noise. Perhaps meaning isn't scalable. Perhaps empathy cannot survive as mere performance. A mirror, as Atlas might now compute, shows reflection, not resolution. And maybe that's where we begin again. Not with a new program, but with the quiet, inefficient, and profoundly human choice to simply care. Unfiltered.
No, Magellan. Data crystals are not. No, Magellan. Data crystals are not for chewing.
Okay, travellers. After witnessing a reality where consent is a reflex and conscience is quarantined, what part of your inner self would you fiercely protect from the market? And if convenience truly comes at the cost of conscience, what is the value of your unexamined consent? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
If this story resonated with you, please like it, share it, and subscribe. Help us grow so that more voices can be heard and more adventures can be told. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Until the next adventure. Goodbye, travelers.
Atlas. Status?
Monostat 9. Recalibrate your reality.